In the main event, we got Pete Dunne versus Roderick Strong.
The Bruiserweight versus the Messiah of the Backbreaker.
It's a chiropractor's wet dream, and this is NXT.
Support, no DQ. Welcome everybody to What's NXT for July 31st, 2019. I'm your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
And this morning, we had a pretty good episode of NXT. However, before we get into the review, we want to skip to the end of our video, and yes, that includes the plugs. We're going to do the plugs now because there are a couple of things we need to tell you guys about next week.
Yes.
So, thank you for joining us for What's NXT. Please join us tomorrow for the NXT party. That is where we review NXT UK. I believe it's episode 54.
Yep.
Episode 54. Good memory, sometimes. And if you would like to join us up on the big screen and help us review a future episode of NXT UK, please find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. If you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne. OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find the gentleman on Twitter
At NoDQ General, and also my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR.
Exclamation point.
Lots of memes, lots of discussions. You know, wrestling shit.
Yeah, that's where you can find us on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram now at osborne.stefan. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Support, no DQ.
You can also find us in Toronto.
Yep.
Next weekend, we will be there for NXT TakeOver Toronto 2 and SummerSlam. And right in between there, at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, we're going to have an early lunch. That is the NoDQ meetup. You can find the information at nodq.com/Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
But since we are going to be in Toronto next weekend, and we are going to be driving 12 hours Thursday morning to get there, normally we do these videos Thursday morning and Friday morning after we get off of work. Some around 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, really early. But we're either going to have to be sleeping or driving.
Yep.
So we are not going to be able to do What's NXT or the NXT party this coming week. Fortunate news is we are still going to bring you the shows. How can we do that, you ask? Well, we have a few members of the NXT team that have volunteered to fill in for us. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have one pair of volunteer replacements or new hosts for a week for the NXT party, and we will have a separate 2 volunteer hosts for the NXT party next week. So, we are going to reveal, that's why we're doing this early, so people know now that don't normally sit through the outro. We're going to have different hosts, don't freak out. It's going to be 2 different people, and if you watch the NXT party, you're going to know these people.
Yeah, they're a little lot whiter than me.
So I'm not sure what their format is going to be. I'm sure they don't have a set. It doesn't really matter. All we want to do is cover NXT and have the show.
Yep.
So, Jerry?
Next week on What's NXT, we are going to have the Cleaver, Carl, and Andrew, and the Holiday Chris May doing the hosting duties.
NXT's dynamic duo.
It's going to be an interesting show, I believe.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a great show. Colin actually hosts his own show, The Chopping Block, so he is probably going to, I would say he's going to take my spot.
Yeah. And Chris Mace is pretty much on every last video you can do.
So, no, I am eternally grateful for these 4 people, and we will let you know tomorrow on the NXT party who is going to be hosting next week's episode. So we're just saving that, a little extra bonus to watch the show. But yeah, if you see new faces, it is perfectly normal. we will be back in 2 weeks to do the next episode.
So we didn't get fired or anything. We didn't fire each other.
So on to tonight's episode of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
We start the show with a match, and I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that about NXT. More often than not, you actually start the show with a match, not a promo that lasts 20 minutes that becomes a match. Just a match. We've got Tyler Breeze versus Jackson Ryker, who does come out with Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, all three members of the Forgotten Sons. I really thought Jackson Ryker was going to get the heel victory here.
Yeah.
I mean, easily. He's got help ×2 on the outside.
It was kind of a weird match because like you had Tyler Breeze's speed and his agility and whatnot, but this time we tried to out-brawl Jackson Ryker, and you just don't try that at all.
He was successful a couple of times.
Yeah.
Especially when he got pissed off.
Oh, yeah. But, like, it's one of these things where you start trading blows with somebody that size, and then you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss with Jackson Ryker. Because at one point, Tyler Breeze did miss and got hit with a standing Uranagi, and that just didn't look pleasant at all.
Yeah, Riker actually catches him and just deadlifts him, holding him with one arm in this Uranagi, and then slams him.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty great. That was my only other note for the match, other than the finish, which is where Tyler Breeze counters a chokeslam attempt. Like, Jackson Ryker, I don't know how he does this, but he ends up with a roll-up.
Yeah.
Fruit roll-up for the 1, 2, 3. And somehow when he went for the roll-up, I'm like, he's going to get the victory here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did.
Nobody looked more surprised than Blake and Cutler.
I was okay with this because this match was not really anything special, but it did its job. As short as it was, I was entertained at least for the match. And what this did was set up the aftermatch. And we had something special here. Because it's not really anything special to see all of the Forgotten Sons, all three of them, gang up on one guy and beat the shit out of him, which is what they did to Tyler Breeze. What was special was the guy that came out to save Tyler Breeze.
Good old Fandango.
Fandango, which I think they need to either change his name or give him his actual name.
I think they should go back to Johnny Curtis. If he's actually going to be taken seriously as a performer this time around and possibly repackaged or anything, he doesn't need to drop that and just make him Johnny Curtis. He can still come out there and look all flashy and whatnot, but at the same time, ditch the whole dancing gimmick, get rid of the music, just...
Yeah, he doesn't really need it. He is fucking ripped.
Yeah, he's gotten into shape.
Yeah, well, he was already in shape, but he just looks like he spent the majority of his rehab time just working on cutting his body. And geez, and I know I sound a little gay here, but I might be a little gay. He looks ripped as shit.
I must say, he hasn't looked this good condition since his debut in the WWE, really.
Well, we exit this segment with the Fandango and Tyler Breeze, the Fashion Police music, where it's like spliced. So they kept the Fandango's music, so I'm assuming they're going to keep calling him Fandango, Fandango. Depends on the announcer, I suppose.
Yeah. Johnny Curtis would just be better.
So much better. And it's not really anything special like Fandango sounds, but still. After this, we get a recap of Candice LeRae coming out to save Casey Catanzaro from a Io Shirai beatdown. And let me just say, it was an extremely legal Io Shirai beatdown. This was within the confines of a match, and Io Shirai just ended up looking so much better.
Yeah.
She came out of the gate with a shotgun drop kick, and from that point just started hitting moves on Casey Catanzaro. Landed like 3 moves, and then Candice LeRae just runs out and interrupts the match.
Yeah.
Which I guess she has her reasons, but couldn't she have come out and interrupted Io Shirai's 2-sentence promo from 2 weeks ago?
I was about to say, we're getting a lot of face run-ins versus like heel run-ins lately. I mean, or like even sneak attacks. Because we had Mia Yim
Faces acting like heels. Like
Yeah.
Candice definitely acted like a heel there. But anyway, we get this recap so that they can show Candice outside of Full Sail waiting on Io Shirai to arrive. And
We go back to her later. She's still standing out in
Yeah.
the parking lot.
so this is just to set up the fact that she's been doing this all night. Which I guess you could have done that, before the first match to show that she... Anyway. So after this, we get our second and final semifinals match for the Breakout Tournament.
Yep.
Say that 5 times fast.
Bronson Reed versus my pick for the tournament to take it all home, Cameron Grimes.
Yes. And this match was nothing special. Again, nothing special in this match. It
Because
was
Bronson
entertaining.
Reed,
He's big and clunky, and he doesn't look as green as he did in the first match, but still.
I think it's the fact that he was in the ring with Trevor Lee, Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes just doesn't look like he gives a shit about anything.
Yeah. And what I noticed was he has a full chest of hair,
Yeah.
and he doesn't shave his armpits either. And I'm like, I don't know if they do that for themselves or if they do that for their opponents, so that when I got you in a headlock, I don't have my sweaty armpit hair all over the back of your neck. Yeah, Cameron Grimes just doesn't give a shit.
Nope.
He don't care.
He is southern as hell.
And he wins this match with this Meteora into a stomp that he catches, what's his name, Bronson Reed, coming off of the ropes. Like, Reed's got this thing where he's got the dude draped on the ropes, and then he hits the ropes, which knocks the dude back. Well, in this case, Grimes turns around and just jumps up, and I guess it's supposed to be a double stomp from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the beginning was 2 knees to the chest.
Yeah.
He just extended his legs and landed with almost a double stomp.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. He got the 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And we don't have to see Bronson Reed move on in the tournament. I would have much rather seen Dexter Loomis beat Bronson Reed, but if he was inevitably going to lose to Cameron Grimes, I guess it's fine that he lost in the first round. But this gives us Cameron Grimes versus who's the babyface? Something
Jordan
Miles.
Miles.
Jordan Miles in the finals, and we are going to get that match at TakeOver.
Yeah.
But we're pretty sure it's going to be the dark match that airs on NXT Wednesday after TakeOver.
Yeah, because they said 2 weeks at the Rosemont. So, yeah. I think they said Rosemont.
No, it's the Scotiabank.
Scotiabank. That's right. Rosemont, Chicago.
Yeah, I was there for Money in the Bank last year.
That's why it popped in my head.
So after this, we get this weird announcement for what I can only assume is going to be a weird video package. Although it is NXT, I'm sure it's going to be a great weird video package. But they're calling it Prime Target Takeover. And basically what they said is this is going to be covering Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole's rivalry. And how we've gotten to this main event championship match. 2 out of 3 falls. Different stipulations. Although I still manage Cole's stipulation kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
I was about to say
one.
the roles are definitely reversed in that one because you would think Adam Cole would ask for a street fight and Johnny Gargano would ask for a straight fight, but it's the other way around.
Well, Gargano would probably ask for a submissions match.
That's the other thing too. Like Adam Cole really isn't that big a submission specialist.
Yep.
And Johnny Gargano's got the Gargano escape, aka the Hurt Stonette.
And he'll do a number of other different finishing submission moves.
And that give Cole a chance to break out the sharpshooter in Canada.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So after this, we get an interview with Matt Riddle, and I guess he's in a dojo. It looks like a training center somewhere. It doesn't look like the performance.
It looked like the dojo he was in that one promo we really enjoyed, where he actually started to show off his fighting style and actually just got to talk candidly to the camera versus doing his whole bro and all this other crap that he does.
Yeah, and he looks pissed off, and I don't know if it's the cameraman or if there's an interview back there somewhere. But somebody asked him if he's doing all this training because of Killian Dane. And he says, he basically calls out Killian Dane for attacking him from behind and says if he wants a fair match, then he'll see him in the ring. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. He issues a challenge to Killian Dane. However, we don't have to wait long. We are going to get this match. They announced next week we are going to get Riddle versus Killian Dane.
Which is something I thought they would at least save for TakeOver. I
Yeah,
really did.
even if it was a dark match.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say dark match. Like, the fact that we're not getting Matt Riddle.
Well, we know the 5th match we're getting.
Yeah.
That comes up later, and I'm not happy with it. I would so much rather have that match.
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Riddle versus Killian Dane. So much rather have it. And I'll explain why later, because I'm going to sound like a pig. Anyway, after this, we get Shayna Baszler coming to the ring for a promo, and she's talking about Mia Yim and how she attacked Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir from behind, and she calls her a street rat. You know, she says, under the lights, you know, she's just going to be exposed for being a street rat.
Yeah. And pretty much now it's said, and Mia Yim comes out and says her piece, which was annoying as hell.
You could tell that Shayna Baszler was struggling a little bit with what I assume was just her lines. But she's still a lot better than she used to be. Mia Yim comes out, doesn't seem to struggle with her lines too much, except for the fact that they are just rubbish lines. I don't think there's a lot of people in the crowd that really understood her.
Yeah.
Let alone, you know, liked what she said. Because she was talking in a slang that I think a lot of people just wouldn't get. And there were terms in there that I had to assume that I knew what she was talking about.
With Shayna, like, I would definitely see where you're coming from, but I think it's also the fact that she gains kind of some of her confidence from talking in front of Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir.
Yeah, she's got her backup out there.
Well, it's not even that. She's, like, supposed to be teaching these girls what they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be doing things.
I think it's more like she couldn't possibly look any worse than they do when they're in a tag team match. So, this,
pretty much did nothing.
There was no physicality. They just each basically said they're going to win the match. And then Shayna Baszler called Mia Yim street trash and left.
Mm-hmm.
And
no sneak attacks, no nothing. Just 2 chicks in the ring.
I guess the only point here is to show that Shayna Baszler really is by herself, because that much damage was done to Duke and Shafir.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I mean, Jessamine Duke was last week, but Marina Shafir's attack was 2 weeks ago, which gives her 3.5 weeks to rest up before the pay-per-view. I'm sure she could probably make it to ringside. Anyway, let's just let it be.
Yep.
I still think Shayna Baszler owns Mia Yim any day of the week, by herself or with friends, or it doesn't matter.
One of the first NXTs that we covered after we started doing the cold opens and whatnot had a Baszler versus Yim, I think it was, because it's like, and did Mia Yim beat Shayna Baszler? We just kind of chuckled and said no. We're gonna see a lot more of that TakeOver.
Oh yeah, we should have some reaction faces for some of that shit live.
Yeah.
Anyway, after this, we head back outside to see Candice LeRae still waiting on Io Shirai, and she doesn't see Io, but she does see William Regal,
who just happens to be outside of his office, probably just catching some air.
Yeah, he lets her know that she's not going to see Io Shirai. Io Shirai's not coming tonight. He has explicitly banned her from the show. And she doesn't seem too peeved off about this, considering she's been out there all night.
Yeah.
Well, less than an hour, but still. She's been out there waiting. So her reaction is to demand a match with Io Shirai. Not only a match, but a takeover match. And he gives it to her, which is cool. But if that is our 5th match, our non-title match for TakeOver, man, I really wish it would have been Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane.
It's my mentality is this: I know that the Mia Yim and Shayna Baszler match is supposed to be like high priority and whatnot. But could they just made a fatal 4-way for the for the women's belt?
That would be cool too.
Made it like a hardcore match or something.
I just don't want to see Io Shirai back in the title picture, especially when losing the title match twice sent her to the dark place.
Oh yeah. But at the same time, this should have been one of the dark matches, and we should have gotten Riddle and Dane versus like at the.
Or both. It's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, and NXT is basically the second biggest NXT takeover of the year. Why not have 6 matches?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. 3 hours is fine. I sit there for 3 hours to watch Raw once a week, every week. Fuck. Shit, I sit and watch a pay-per-view for 5.
Way lesser quality.
Yeah. Yeah, I've stopped watching the kickoff shows, though. That extra hour is just asking too much, man. So, after this, we get one announcement before the main event. Next week, we are going to get a contract signing for the tag titles. We're going to have
Street Profits versus Team Red Dragon.
So we've got Angelo Dawkins and
Montez Ford.
there you go. And
Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
Thank you.
From the Undisputed Era.
I had them until I started speaking.
Do you know how badly like Noah Foster is gonna flip out at that pay per view if all the Undisputed Era walks through the gold?
Oh, I'm gonna flip out too. I'm gonna be marking out like crazy. That's gonna be awesome. I don't understand why we have a contract signing on NXT. That's like main roster stuff, and it's complete filler and it's bullcrap. And I hope they have something really cool planned, storyline wise, for this contract signing or some cool fit, something.
I think whoever's left standing at the end of it's gonna be the ones that end up losing the match.
Christ, I hope this ends with somebody going through a table and it becomes a tables match for the titles.
Oh, that'd be excellent too.
Or a tables elimination match, something like that.
I was about to say we can't do a TLC match because you already had the ladder match for Street Profits to win the belts.
Tables match would be awesome.
Yeah.
So we are on to the main event, and what a main event!
Yeah.
From the time Roderick Strong started to come out, we had 20 minutes left in this show, and I'm like, whoa. My prediction last week was that there was not going to be a finish to this match. And I'm like, are you going to put on what ended up being an 18-minute match not to have a definitive finish? It's going to piss me off. So maybe I don't want my prediction to come through true. And sure enough, we got a winner to this match.
Yeah.
So we've got Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne. 18-minute match. And my notes should be this long. But I have like 5. But before I get into those, what do you think about the main event, Jerry?
Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, I already knew it was going to be a great match, at least up until the finish. Because I was with you in that sense. I thought, okay, this isn't going to end clean. Either Velveteen Dreams are going to run out, or Fish and O'Reilly are going to run out. Somebody's going to run out in this match, and it's going to be, all-out brawl. There's going to be referees everywhere, no finish. No concrete ending whatsoever, but what we ended up getting was this display of sloppy brutality, and
that's a good way to put it.
That's what it was just slop. Like, you couldn't tell if some of those things were botches or if they were just meant to look horrible, but at the same time it looked painful, and it was great, it was bad. It was both.
There was a spot in this match where Pete Dunne was up on the turnbuckle, facing the outside, sitting on the top. And Strong follows him up, and he ends up on the apron, pulling Pete Dunne down, and then dropping him on his back on the apron.
Yeah.
In a sort of weird-ass backbreaker.
Yep.
Bomb. And on commentary, they called that move, the landing, awkward and ugly. And I think that is the best description of this match, and is probably the best description of this show. It's awkward and ugly, but damn entertaining.
Yeah.
Damn entertaining. This was a really good match. despite it being awkward and ugly. There were a lot of spots in this match that were near botches, but somehow they ended up landing. So, there's not an all-out botch, so you can't be like, but it's still so awkward and ugly that you notice. And it's not like it's a real fight. If it was a real fight, I could get into the awkwardness because, you're not supposed to be too damn precise.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you're in the heat of the moment. Fists are going to fly, chops can be thrown a little too high. It's going to happen.
But this is wrestling. It should look somewhat choreographed.
Yeah.
But other than the fact that it was, again, awkward and ugly, hell of a match. The ending, that's my only notes. We've got Roderick Strong hit a Tiger Driver onto Pete Dunne for a near fall. And he goes for the near fall by stacking him up. And he goes straight from the kick out into what he calls the stronghold, which is essentially not the walls of Jericho. Oh, no, it's the walls of Jericho.
Kind of like Boston Crab.
Lion Tamer.
Yeah.
That's what it is, specifically, the Lion Tamer. Because Walls of Jericho is more like a regular Boston Crab.
Yeah.
This is the one where they're kind of vertical and he's got his knee in his back.
Yep.
But somehow Pete Dunne grabs his hand that he has been working on the whole match with that, what I call now the Baszler stomp, which it really should be the Pete Dunne stomp. He did it first. But still, he hits the Baszler stomp and then sets up for it again, but hits a punt kick, and he's kicking and beating on his arm all of this match. Every time he's in a predicament, like Strong's got a hold on him, he just grabs that hand and starts pulling on fingers. So he turns the Lion Tamer into a triangle. And then out of the triangle, he goes to snap the fingers, but then rolls him over, and then he rolls him into that move that I don't even know what to call it. It's like an inverted hoverboard lock.
Yep.
Because the arm's up instead of back. But he snaps the fingers and then starts pulling on him, and immediately Roderick Strong taps out.
He did smart thing at that point. He's got his match a takeover.
In a week and a half.
Can't be walking in with a broken hand.
Exactly. The end of this match was more notes than I had for the match. Because we had Velveteen Dream come out while Pete Dunne was not really celebrating. He just kind of looks at the crowd.
Yeah, that's what he does.
And Dream sneaks in, but before he can... I'm assuming he was going to take Dunne out with the title. Dunne looks over his shoulder and sees him. And so Dream just acts cool. And then poses with the title after Roderick Strong leaves. He heads up the rampway yelling at Dream that's his title.
Yep.
But as soon as Dream turns around during his pose, fucking Pete Dunne reaches up and grabs his fingers, snap, and then hits him with the bitter end.
Yep.
And then stands there looking victorious after becoming victorious. With the shrug. And it would have been so much better if he'd have picked up the title, maybe.
Yep.
But he just left it laying. Even you said this, pick up the title. And I said, yeah. And then shrug and then drop it on top of Velveteen Dream's prone, lifeless body.
May even mock just putting it in your mouth, just, No.
It was fine for what it was. It made Pete Dunne look strong, which tells me that he's probably not going to win the triple threat match. This was where he gets his momentum. He'll look good in the triple threat match, but maybe he takes the pinfall so that Velveteen Dream doesn't have to.
Yeah. I still see possibly Velveteen Dream walking away with the belt.
Well, we've yet to do our predictions, but now that we know all 5 matches, we'll probably go ahead and do that this week.
Yep, possibly.
See if we get Noah on the horn tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, that brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. And Jerry, you get to go first. Where do you rate this particular main event?
I'm probably going to say 3 3/4. Because it was a solid match. It really was. But at the same time, there was really no title implications. The whole idea was just to give Pete Dunne a little bit of momentum since it's his first match.
I wouldn't say no title implications. The winner of this match gets the momentum moving into the triple threat match.
Yeah, but it was also his first match back in NXT. Since, War Games? And,
possibly.
Yeah, I think that was his last match there, because shortly after that's when he really started plugging away for NXT UK.
Well, he had to. He was the champ.
Yeah.
Got to move to the brand that you're on, for real.
So now he's back over there. We don't know how long he's going to be there for. So, but I say 3 3/4 just for the fact that it was a little bit of a sloppy looking match and it was vicious, but because of that, I guess I can say the aftermatch was really good too. And coming off of a decent show, I could probably put it at a 4.
You're going up.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to just go ahead and agree with you at 3 3/4 because you said it. It was a really good main event.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
For me, great starts at 4 stars.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go as close as I can get. If I'll go 3 7/8. But let's not break it down like that. I'm just going to go 3 3/4. I'm not going to give it an extra star off the back of a great show because, like I said, they were okay. The matches were okay. They were passable. They were entertaining, but at the same time,
They all had finishes.
that is true. But it was meh. Like Shayna Baszler was a little meh, and Mia Yim was absolutely meh.
And Bronson Reed was meh.
So I'm not gonna give it an extra quarter star. I'm gonna stick at 3 3/4. I'm the low guy.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
All right.
3 3/4, and then like a quarter for a little bit more of the build up. Depressed that we're not getting Riddle versus Dane at that show, it should be at that takeover. It really should. 'Cause I think that would have been perfect to have right after the probably the tag match between Street Profits and the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, because the general's order says the tag match goes first.
Yep. General order goes tag match. Actually, tag match, North American match, showcase match. So been right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So we've already done the plugs.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's NXT?
Yep.
Join us tomorrow, please, for the NXT party. For the General, Jerry Slaughter, I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you NXT time.